tune by Dennis Island called Quiet Now. Stiff as a board.
Calvin, did you play with Preston?
I was playing with Preston when I was 15.
What was that like?
One of the greatest experiences I ever had in my life, because he was teaching me how to play music. And you know, I ain't talking about the blues neither. I'm talking about all them tunes and stuff. And it was quite an experience. And it was because of this piano player he had, Bob Froese. His name was Bobby Froese. He was in Kansas City. And me and Bobby used to set up before and after the gigs. And he would show me all them cards and different. This one tune he showed me. I can't get started. See, Bob showed me these changes. He said, Cal, now when you play that first melody, and then he said, when you go to that other chord, you play these. He said, Richard, but this part he showed me. He said, yeah, you play the minor to the dominant seventh. And then you come down to that G, and then you go to the 2, 5, 1, the D. He used to show me all them progressions, man. And I used to just have me a ball dealing with this guy. He was an alcoholic. He died from the cirrhosis of the liver. But boy, did he know all the changes and all them tunes and stuff he used to show me. And that was a learning process, you know,
16.
Working with Preston. I was 15, 16 years old. And, but see, my Uncle Ivory had a guitar. He played the Delta Blues. He said, I used to come home and watch him play. And when he, you know, he'd get up and go work on construction, I get out of school, I rush home and go down in the basement and turn that guitar on and start messing with it. And he told me and my cousin, said, if I ever catch you, I'm going to put foot in you. I said, oh, Lord. And he come in there and called me one night. He said, I'm waiting on him to pop me. And he said, yeah, I know you've been coming down there, nephew, playing the guitar. He said, Mama told me, that was my grandmother. And he said, play something for me. And I played a little lick I see him play. He said, how you learn how to do that? I said, watching you. And I heard some stuff on the radio that I kind of picked out of my ear, you know. And I played that. He said, well, how'd you learn how to do that? I said, oh, I heard some stuff on the radio. And I said, you know, Uncle, I was working at a car wash out on 30th in Ames, somewhere out there. And I said, I'm going to give me a couple of checks, I'm gonna buy me a guitar. He said, you can have that one. I said, huh? Little cake about this long, about that thick, wide, and a little bitty amp. I ran home. We was in the projects up on 30th and Lake. For the next 6 months, man, the police was knocking on my door 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Young man, will you please turn your guitar down? People are trying to sleep. And one evening, this old man knocked on my door, and he said, "Hey, young man, is that you playing that guitar?" I said, "Yeah." And his name was Mr. Woolley. And he said, "Well, I've been coming by here on my way home from work every evening, and I'm hearing you and you're getting better and better." He said, "I think it's time for you to meet my wife." I said, "Meet your wife?" I said, "What kind of freak?" He said, "No, she teaches guitar." I said, "Oh, okay." So he took me around there and introduced me to Miss Phyllis. That was his wife's name. And she started showing me another style of chords and stuff. But see, that was before I got with Preston. But see, after that, then I joined Preston, see, and got hooked up with Bob Froese, that piano player, and all them chords, the basic fundamental chords that she was teaching me, he expanded on them with me. And you know, my dad played with Preston, Otis, Calvin Keys, my father. I'm Otis Jr. He played drums with him. And his claim to fame was the Carolina Cotton Pickers came through here and needed a drummer, and he played with him for a night or two. But you know, he had no chance of becoming a musician because my mother and his mother, my grandmother, they thought musicians was all pimps and gamblers and drug addicts. So he didn't have a chance. But I think that musical germ he had, I inherited it. Because, you know, I didn't have any idea that I'd be making a living playing a guitar. But it was just something I loved to do, and I just kept doing it. Next thing I know, I'm out on the road traveling and shit, you know.
Well, they keep talking about the 24th Street and how it was jumping back in the day.
Yeah,
Were you part of that?
of course. The Blue Room was on the corner, McGill's, then they had the Offbeat, then that Showcase. See, Paul was a very strong instigator of me playing. And the reason why was because of Dorothy, his wife, Mrs. Allen. See, when I come to find out. And see, when I started traveling with Frank, doing the children's circuit, and we go out to Denver, then we go to San Francisco, and then Oakland, then back to Kansas City, back to Omaha. Paul is the one that gave me the nickname California Cal. That was him. And see, Paul Allen co-signed for me to get my first real guitar, which was a Barney Kessel double cutaway Gibson, and I got it at Hospice Music. And he said, "Cal, I knew you was going to mount to something." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because out of all the musicians that I signed for them to get the instruments, you the only one paid for yours." I said, "Paul, you got to be kidding me." He said, "I'm telling you the truth." He said, "You the only one paid for your instrument." I remember it was $500. That's what that guitar cost. And it took me a couple years of paying a little here every month, and I finally got it paid off, man. And was in my corner, especially Dorothy. And I didn't know. I thought it was him, but Dorothy was saying, "You can stay on Calvin because he's something going on with it. He got something different." You know, I said, "Wow." And Gerald Holtz, you know, Holtz said, "Cal, out all them other guitar players," he said, "it was something about the way you did play and was a little different." I remember when I left here to go on the road, Holtz said, 3 things you got to learn. Learn all the tunes you can. Learn them in all keys, and learn how to play them in any tempo. And keep a dime in your pocket, because that was the price of a phone call. I ain't never had to call him, no. But man, you know, but that was the beginning of it. Like I said, I had no idea that I'd be making a living playing this.
How long have you been playing?
I started messing around with the guitar when I was about, 13, 14 years old. The first gig I played was with Andrew Beeler He was out of South Omaha. We had, and the band was called Dr. Spider and his Rock and Roll Webs. He was a spider playing the bass. He had an old Gibson guitar with 3 strings. That was the bass. I played guitar. Larry Bell was playing piano. Curtis French was on drums. And that was the Rock and Roll Webs. And we went to Sioux City, Iowa for Clarence Kenner, Po' Boys Club 54. I'll never forget it in my life. Because right on the bandstand was elevated. And this dude and his woman got into it. And he hit her, knock her down, she get up and run back into him. I said, wow, man, this dude and this broad is fighting like 2 men, man. And he knocked her down 2 or 3 times. The last time he knocked her down, she came up with a bottle. And it was over. She stuck that sucker with that bottle, man. I said, wow. And I didn't even, I said, man, that broad kicked that dude fun. But that's why I never forgot. But later on, I met Sonny Kenner, who was Clarence's son, who played guitar out of L.A. when I moved to Kansas City, and him and I became very good friends. So that was the first gig I ever played in my life. I think I got $15 for that gig, and I never recovered. And I was at the Offbeat. We used to jam at the Offbeat every Sunday, and Lil Walking Wooly came through. His granddaddy was living here. And Wooly was a saxophone player back east, and he would walk the bar. And he had this girl singing with him, big old 6'2", bronze, built like a Coke bottle. And her name was Jewel Brenner. And she'd come out and sing a couple of tunes, and she would take a bow, and her wig would fall off. And she was bald-headed, like Yul Brenner, but Jewel Brenner. That was the hook. She couldn't sing a lick, but she was so gorgeous. And so I went on the road. He said, I need a guitar player, Calvin. Would you be willing to go on the road with me? I didn't know the 3 chords for blues. And I said, of course. But you have to come home and ask my mama, because, I'm still in school. I was getting ready to graduate. Excuse me. And so he went out to the house and asked us politely, like, a man's supposed to do. Mrs. Smith, could I take your son out on the road? And she said, well, I don't think so. And it hurt me, because I was looking forward to it. And so after he left, me and Mama sit down and talk. And I looked at her, I said, Mama, I'm going to have to disobey you this time. Because she always told me to tell the truth, don't lie. I said, I'm going to go with Mr. Woolley if I have to sneak out while you sleep. And she said, well, you put it like that. She said, I don't want you to be no musician, but if you're going to be one, try to be the best. And remember one thing that I want to say to you. I don't want you ever to forget it. I said, what's that, Mom? She said, be careful, because you always get what you want. And I went on the road with Lil Walking Wooly. We went to McKee's. We went to the Riviera Ballroom in St. Louis for 3 nights. We left there and went to Cleveland, Ohio at a club called Gleason's. We followed Big J. McShann because he had a hit record out there, Something on Your Mind. And I stayed at the Majestic Hotel on 55th and Quincy. I'll never forget it. And I think in the lobby of the hotel, they had this cat playing an organ with a trio. Come to find out that was Jimmy Smith. And so we left we left Cleveland 2 weeks, and then I went to McKeesport, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Pittsburgh, at this club called the DWIN, Dave's Walnut Inn. Dave was a police chief. The reason why I know, because me and one of his daughters got hooked up, and he caught us doing something we had no business. And he didn't say nothing to me, but he got on her case. She was older than I was, But anyway, it didn't turn out as bad as it sounded. But then this guitar player came and got up on the bandstand and played so much guitar, I crawled under the table. It was embarrassing. But he was very nice, and he set me down and showed me a few licks and chords. I don't remember his name. And I came on back to Omaha. He gave me $125 a week. 4 weeks is $500. I came back to Omaha. I ain't never recovered. I graduated. Mama said, "What you gonna do now?" I said, "I'm going to Kansas City." "What you going to Kansas City for?" I said, "'Cause my daddy's down there. And I'm going down there and the music scene is a little better." I went down there and got me a trio with Reuben Wright on bass and Bill, what was Bill? Frazier on drums, I think. He couldn't do nothing but play a shuffle. And I worked on 12th, I think it was 12th and Woodland at this club called The Nightingale. Happy Bruno, Italian boy. He loved the way I played. He gave me a job. I worked in there 6 nights a week and 7 matinees. That's how I learned how to play.
Wow.
I did that for about 7, 8 months, almost a year. And
Well, let me ask you something. What do you like to play?
in terms of what you mean?
Well, I mean, there's all kinds of jazz out there.
Well, no, it ain't.
There isn't?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
There's one kind of jazz, which now it's not called jazz now. My ex-boss, Maj Jamal, calls it American classical music. And that's why we refer to it now. But jazz is an old school name of referring to a certain kind of music, the swing, like Basie and Duke and all them cats, man. But now that music is evolved into an original art form that was created by us black folks, and it's called jazz, and it came from the blues. And you know, I teach a lot of students, and they say, "Well, the blues, now the blues and this and that," and you know, we've been challenged all our lives with this race thing and all that. And he said, "Well, the blues," I said, "Look, the blues consist of the 1-4-5 progression of a major scale." And I said, before we invented it, it did not exist. And the cat said, "Well, when did it?" I said to myself, I said, "When did it come into play?" So I went and did some research over history. And so it wasn't no one particular time. It was over a certain period of time where everybody involved made some type of a contribution. But I didn't get back no further than Son House. Because after I got some video on Son House playing and singing by himself, and it was so devastating, man, I was trembling. And I said, whoa. And then after seeing that, then I said, oh, I see a lot of the cats came out of him. You know, Robert Johnson, Lead Belly, all of them come out of Son House, man. But, you know, they don't tell you that, but, you know, certain things you got to, you know, come up with for yourself. But he was played a very big part in the development of the blues. And he played just enough guitar to augment what he was saying, you know. But, you know, Lead Belly and all them cats studied, and they knew how to play a little more than he did, but he played just enough to do what he needed to do and get his point across. But, boy, he was incredible. And I didn't get a chance to meet him. He died in Chicago, I think, in the 60s, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, the history of this music, man, it's been kept away from us so long. But like I said, we know now. We know who was doing what, man. Like when John Coltrane hit the scene, man, you know, all that music he was playing, people look at him like he was crazy. But then music, as I got into it, music started taking shapes and forms. And, you know, like, if I go to that window and play what I see, cars running up and down the 24th Street, here come a cat on a bicycle, here's a bus, and you put that in musical forms, you can do that. See, music takes shapes and forms, but you got to know something about the fundamental of music to be able to do that. So like I said, certain arpeggio, you know, it is like, give me an example of what I'm talking about, Mighty Mouse, a cartoon character. The villain grabs Minnie Mouse. Take her to the railroad tracks. He ties her up. rain started coming. And here come Mighty Mouse, he saves us. So that first chord I'm playing is a diminished. See, that has a certain element to it that leaves it hanging. In other words, it has to be resolved to a point of rest. And so, if you just look at different music, different shows, different movies, TV, and just listen to the music that's going on behind what's happening, that'll let you know this music is incredible. And you know how all the music that I've heard in all my lifetime is made of the first 7 letters of the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now, just think about that. All this music you hearing on the radio and on TV, on the and on the internet and all that is made of the first 7 letters of the alphabet. That's pretty heavy. So, but people don't look at it from that standpoint of view,
it hits them in a way that they don't get past they don't get to the history. All they know is what they feel.
Yeah, because we're very emotional. We're very emotional people. And see, we've been, this whole, Indians too. See, the Native American. See, we've been played upon because of our emotions. A lot of people, I don't know if they're aware of it, but we do things according to what our gut feeling tells us. And that's authentic. That's beautiful because we ain't no bad people. We don't want to kill nobody unless they trying to kill me. But the thing of it is, we got a lot of love in our spirit, man, from a spiritual standpoint of view. And that's what we always try to maintain, a certain level of competency with the love that we have for one another. And that has saved me in many situations. Because every morning I get up, I pray I say, Lord, please don't let nobody bring me down off of this love that I feel. You know what I'm saying? I try to go through the whole day without somebody making me upset. And try to show some love. And do it with this music too, see.
Give me a little bit. Let me hear some love.
Like I said, man. I said, if you come up in there, when I get ready to do a concert, and I tell the people, I said, thank y'all for being in, and we getting ready to play a concert, and this ain't nothing but a love affair. Because I said, if you ain't got no love in your heart, get on up and get out of here. Right now, I don't want you in it. And in a nice way, But that's what it is, man. It's sharing some love with this music, man. It's incredible. And there's so many different ways. That's this time of year, springtime. So I thought I'd play that spring and really hang you up the most, which is a beautiful composition.
Have you played in here before?
Yeah, it's about 3 or 4 years ago.
What do you like about this place?
Right now, I like the acoustics. They've done some remodeling since I was here. The stage was back here. We came through that back door and set up right there. But since then, they've remodeled it up, and it's turned into a really gorgeous place. And the music should be sounding beautiful in here because of all this carpet and stuff. See, I'm going to have a quartet, piano, bass, drums, and guitar. As opposed to the last time I was here, I had an organ trio, which was cool. But I mean, I had my guitar, bass, and drums trio, but I'm gonna have a piano this time, so I think it's gonna be all right. Curly Martin and his group, so they're gonna share the stage with me. So I'm, like I said, I'm looking forward to it. You know. Yeah, I can sit there and play all day long. Yeah.
I have a question. Well, not a question, but you talking about the feeling. You know what the feeling is like for you coming here, growing up here, and experiencing what you experienced. There's a lot of people who might come to this concert to hear you. They're going to walk away with not only the feeling of what you gave them, but the feeling of this place, the love, jazz, and art.
Exactly.
What kind of feeling do you want them to, if there was a melody that you'd want them to walk out here with after they had seen your concert in the love, jazz, zen, what would it feel like? What would it sound like? I know it's on the spot, but
I would like for, I know what they're gonna feel like when they leave out here. They're gonna say, "Whew, damn, that brother knows what he's doing." Because I started playing when I was 14, 13, and I'm 70 years old. I've been playing for 50 years, man. So I guess technically, if you own any kind of profession for 50 years, you would be equivalent to a doctor. So I've studied, and I'm still studying. I'm still learning how to play. I ain't learned how to play yet. I'm still studying. I'm searching for that note. That's what I call it. It's a note that I'm searching for. I remember working with Amar Jamal in Blues Alley in Washington, D.C. That's probably my wife. That's how I get to it. We was playing this one tune, and we got to a certain part in that song, and this note came out of the ceiling over here. I looked, and Amar just smiled. And everybody in the room turned around and heard it. I said, whoa, now wait a minute. And so when we got back to that tune, that same spot again, the same thing happened. I still can't explain it. And I looked at Ahmad again, and he just smiled. But it was a harmonic. So the guitar and the piano was so in tune with one another, man. That note jumped out the ceiling. I almost had a stroke. But it was one of the most beautiful experiences. You know, like I said, working with a pianist like Ahmad, you know, and I'm a guitarist, I'm a chordal instrument. So, you know, it could be a clash thing going on, but I figured out how to take certain notes out of the chord and play and still let him do his thing and encourage him to keep doing it and not get in his way. You know, that takes some doing. Yeah. So I try to get that same type of tension, dynamic tension with this music that I'm playing, see. Because, you know, I might say, yeah, man, we get up on the bandstand, we're going to commit murder, man. I ain't got no friends. He said, when we up on that bandstand, gal, we battle. He said, we commit murder. And said, don't you ever forget it. And he said, when you see that red light on one of them cameras, you automatically know that's a couple of more thousand in your pocket. I said, yes, sir. And man, I mean, you know, same with Ray, man. Ray used to turn around. I used to sit on his right, behind him on his right side. Ray used to turn around to me and say, Calvin. I said, what? He said, turn that up. Don't let that get away. So, I mean, you know, oh, man, it's been one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had in my life playing music. You know, and I sound like it ain't no detriment. It has been, but we overcome that by keep doing what we do. Like my mama said, be careful because you always get what you want. And I'm still after it, you know. And like I said, I've had some uneasy experiences, but I ain't never had no bad experience. And the experiences I've had that didn't turn out like it was supposed to was dealing with some of my home folks. And that's all right too, you know. But you know, I had a guy, I was in Phoenix, played 3 nights. He said, I'm gonna go upstairs and count up and I'll be back down to pay you. I ain't seen him no more. I had a band out of Los Angeles. I had Billy Osborne who was playing keyboards with me. He had the group LTD, Jeffrey's brother, and he had his wife, and they was getting ready to go back to Los Angeles in line at the airport. The FBI walks up to them and pull them out of line, take their tickets, and said a check that the tickets was bought with bounced. So I had to go in my pocket, you know, get my credit card out, which I did, and instead of me making money, it cost me $3,000. But I took the responsibility that I had as a leader and got them all back home. We eventually paid them. But the guy told me, he said, man, this guy that was with me came here to kill me because I owed some money. I said, well, I understand that. I said, but the only thing that I'm heard about it, you didn't come and share it with me. Because I would have said, well, if this $3,000 is going to keep him from killing you, you better take it. Because I don't want to be responsible for you getting your brains, getting shot or killed. And, you know, I said, I'll get the money from someplace else and make it up. But I could have had time to do something and make it halfway decent. But he didn't do that. And like I said, I had some people that was very upset at me for not giving them the okay to bust his knee. I said, no, I don't need that on my brains. I want to play some music. I can't. When I had this cat legs broke, I'm going to feel real bad because, you know, that ain't supposed to go like that. So I said, I don't on a dip. My wife said, you know, I almost left you. I said, no, I know you wouldn't go.
Okay. All right. So we got one more thing to do.
Okay.
And that is, I want you to play a little bit, look at the camera. I don't know if you need this. Play a little bit, and invite the people to come to hear you and your group play Love Jazz.
Of course. Okay. That was a West Montgomery composition entitled West Coast Blues. So I'm going to invite all you friends, family, relatives, and associates to come on down to the Love Center where I'm going to be in concert for Friday and Saturday of this weekend. So tell all your friends Calvin Keys is back in town, and I came home to share the love that I get by playing this instrument. Like I'm going to tell y'all, like I tell everybody else, you know, the guitar, to me, is one of the most beautiful instruments in the world. And what I do, I paint musical portraits, and the guitar is my brush. So come on down and share that with me this weekend, Friday and Saturday, the 4th and 5th of May. And from 7 until. I'm not going to say from 7 to 9 because when I get started playing, I might play at 3 o'clock in the morning if they don't stop me because I love doing it. And I'm sure y'all ain't going to say stop. So it's been a business doing pleasure with you. So come on down to the Love Center, the Love Art and Jazz Center in Omaha, Nebraska on 24th and Lake because this is where I got started playing music. So I thought I'd bring something back and give it back to Omaha. And thank you. And I have some CDs too. I brought back 3 or 4 different CDs that you'll be able to purchase, and I'll autograph them for you. So you can take some of me home with you. So please come and share this weekend with us. And thanks again. Ain't nothing but the blues.